Welcome to the end of Monday. I've got a few chores taken care of. I saw my mom today. She's walking stronger every day. I make sure she walks every day. Her insurance provided walking is like 3 times a week. What I've realized is for her to get out of that facility, she's going to have to walk every day. So anyway, that was accomplished today. I've gone through some of my resources, figuring out what my next plan is, climbing out of survival mode, making sure I create in creative mode. A lot of people don't realize when you get to the bottom of your resources, it's hard to think straight. It's hard to put direction in the correct way of thinking. I've actually put myself out there and looked for assistance. I found not an ad agency, but an efficiency agency. What are they called? They've, for a couple $100, which I think I need to do because I'm just too frazzled. That's where paying for a service can make your life easier. That's why I get paid to do what I do. I get paid to fix computers, set up computers, make people's technical issues go away, whether it's residential or small business. But what I realized is I need to be the customer this time. I was on the phone today with a salesperson, and he wants to clean up my web presence. Now, frankly, I have the technical prowess to do it myself, but I'm frazzled. So I'm thinking I need to spend a couple $100 a month with this service so that I can make that problem go away and potentially be more busy. I think I can be more busy. The problem is I don't have a physical shop anymore. I was looking for a new shop, and the vacancies are everywhere. I don't know if I want to buy one or rent one. There's so many vacancies right now. I don't want to talk politics, but I'm directly in the market for a space. I did find an office locally, very close to where my original shop was, for about $1,000. So if I get a small office like that, I might do it. I'm not going to spend any more money than that. I know what I need. I just need a landing spot. I need a physical address. That's the only way this is going to work. So I get to feel like the customer, not just the businessman. So this is where I'm coming from. I have to get my web presence in order, because without a physical location, I can't compete. My direct competitors have a physical location, and even though most of my work and most of the work that I do is more lucrative when I do a house call, I can't compete if I don't have a place to land, even if it's a closet-sized office. So that's where I am. The work coming in has been sparse. I don't know how much of the economy is attributed to that. I'm in a wealthy, or a fairly affluent location, which has never been a problem in the past. I know the market's changing. Electronics are not necessarily as repairable as they used to be. And also, when you're in a more affluent neighborhood, things are more likely to be replaced than repaired. People want to just make their things work. They don't necessarily want to spend money repairing if they can afford to just replace it. So that's where I stand. My next step is to spend a few $100 a month, get some ads out there, get some people to see that I'm back. I still need to create an ad campaign. I've got like 5,000 people on my phone, most of which do not have emails tied to them. So that's a problem. But I do have phone numbers. I thought about just calling up a few customers, but in the grand scheme of things, that's a lot of energy. So then I tried to extract my contact list from my phone and import them into Microsoft Outlook. The iCloud utility that's designed to be working with iCloud, the iCloud utility that's designed to work with Microsoft Outlook was janky. Outlook is janky, so I'm thinking I'm due to re-image my own computer. So my goal is to also start emailing or sending out some sort of campaign. I did have a phone call this morning with a company that wants $500 a month. It's a cool utility, but I don't know if I can afford $500 a month with a 4-month commitment to basically not contact all my existing contacts, but to contact, it's basically find some leads. So it's a little frustrating because it takes money to make money. That's pretty much where I am. Thankfully, I have a friend that's helping me out. I have a few friends that are helping me out with their resources, let me stay with them, and they know what I'm up against. I've had some self-discovery lessons in life, mainly inhibiting my ability to grow, not mental illness, not necessarily ignorance, but trauma. A lot of times people have a limited way of doing things, and it's not because they lack IQ or stability in the mind, but sometimes they develop phobias, like that whole fear of success mentality, and I think I've suffered some of that. I've had a couple instances that have had to happen in the past, and only years later for me to recognize what happened. There are certain things I've never bothered to do that could have made me money. And I think that's some of the trauma, the early childhood trauma that I've finally discovered. And I think when you're in the thick of all that trauma as you grow up, you tend to you minimize it. You don't realize how serious it is or how bad it is, or these twisted ways of thinking. You don't understand how twisted they are or how limiting they are. I've had lucrative opportunities that I've turned down, and I thought I was the narrative that got created in those instances was fear. Other than fear, I don't know what other words to attribute. Fear of expansion, fear of growth, is that how the fear of success works? I mean, imagine being shoved hundreds of thousands of dollars in your face. Does that fear me? Now that I've processed a little bit, I don't know if it does, but I think back in the past it did. It's a little bit of a heartache to realize it, because you didn't realize what you were dealing with. You even think the reasons those opportunities failed were for other weird, twisted logic. So now I'm extra active, and I'm a little more positive, or less apprehensive, or what's the word? More inclined to try new things. It's almost like I was afraid of getting ripped off. I mean, not all business people, not all salespeople trying to sell you stuff are selling crap or are scammers. And I kind of wonder if at some point I created this idea that most salespeople selling me their product or service are not selling something they fully believe in. No, it's been slow. I've had time to think. This unearthing of thought patterns is decades after these events have happened. And it's unfortunate, because part of what's frustrated me is then I'm statistically half done with Earth. I'm halfway through life. That's what's frustrating. I wish I could take what I know now about me 20 years in the past. That makes it harder to figure out what direction I want. I know what I want, and it's always been a struggle. I kind of wonder if I've developed this idea that earning an income is always supposed to be a struggle, or money that's to come my way needs to be earned. These are the weird narratives I think I came up with as a child. Don't know who I got it from, but I mean, obviously, life, I always thought my life, early childhood, was perfect. My parents split when I was 9. They were very good at keeping their issues to themselves. So I had like a 6-month warning when they split. Money was never an issue until my parents split. So maybe I developed a narrative during the second half of my childhood, having been raised by my mom, who never earned a huge amount of money, and money was tight. I don't know if that's what part of my childhood allows me to create this narrative of money is hard to come by, money is only meaningful if you earn it. It's not meant to be shoved in your face, because if it is, it's not right. I don't know. These are the thoughts that have traversed my mind lately, and I'm trying to grow. I know I've grown. I'm a lot more now than I was 15 years ago. There was an event that happened 15 years ago where I had an opportunity for a fairly large windfall. It may have been the largest windfall I will ever collect. I don't know if I want to talk details about that, but my point is that would have been owed money, but not earned money. And I don't know if my mind twisted the idea that that's just not the way it needs to happen. I could have sued someone civilly, and I chose not to. There's your details. That's as close I'm going to talk about right now. Something about me kept me from going there. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what part of my life has decided, don't go there. Yeah, but, oh, yeah, that's the other part I was going to talk about 15 years ago. I was a lot less confident, and I had certain things I didn't do back then because of my lack of confidence. So I don't really beat myself up for being less than I am now. I am stronger. My biggest frustration is that I'm just older. I wish I could take what I've taken 15, 20 years in the past. One of my friends that I talk about this stuff with, we're both fairly intellectual, and we talk about spiritual growth and growing. And one of the examples is, well, hey, Chris, why don't you own any crypto? I'm an IT guy. Why is it 15, 20 years ago I never bothered? Just one of those blocks, those financial blocks. That's where I'm coming from. And an obvious example. Someone with my technical skill set, I could have thrown $10 in it. 15 years ago, whenever Bitcoin came out, about then. But that's an example of limited belief systems, and I'm having to embrace that. I need to open a window, but I didn't bring my keys. The car's unlocked, all the windows are closed. I'm starting to break out a sweat here. But that's really where I'm coming from. I need to make the most of what's left. If I'm 45 years old, and if I'm statistically going to be here another 45 years, I need to not pull punches, not be afraid of collecting any abundance and any good fortune that's thrown my way, whether it's earned, owed, or gifted. Have a good night.